besides the fruit of the Spirit, which that's always the answer I always get, what are some marks of, that's the fruit of the Spirit. What are some marks of a maturing Christian? So take out love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness.
You got to name one word?
I think those are going to be actions. What are some other ones? The reason I asked that is yesterday I was preparing for a video series we're going to do in Psalms. Well, while I was in the Psalms, I said, let's have some fun in Proverbs too, because that may be one that we do eventually as we'll go from Psalms to the Proverbs and do kind of famous sayings.
What are some of the actions?
Or how to live life. Yeah, what are some things that should be in our life? What are some things that characterize, if you will?
Besides the fruit of the Spirit.
Take out the fruit of the Spirit.
Well, I would say one thing would be, and I'm not saying loving others, but not judging others based on our criteria.
So you learn how to walk more in grace and how to be responsive to
that would be a big
the grace that God has shown me. I'll show to others. Okay.
Is that on there? Is that one of the answers?
I like it.
Okay. All right.
That's not what I was looking for, but I agree with you.
Man, I thought I had.
You ought to pat yourself on the back. It's just not in this text.
Well, you had a text. So.
I am. I'm gonna get to a text.
Okay.
Hey,
I know where you're at. So
Proverbs 1.
I haven't read Proverbs.
Trust in the Lord.
Trust.
Yeah.
That was going to be mine.
Yep.
All the way. That's in Proverbs 3. I want you to know that.
But Proverbs 1:7. You know that one? You memorize that one?
No, I've only gotten to 6.
So here we go. I shared this with the staff this morning.
Oh, right.
And if I had to call this passage something, I would call it the ing, the inging of maturity, the growing of maturity. And here it is. I think that we should be knowing Him, and that's verse 2, to know wisdom and instruction. Well, Colossians says that in Christ are hidden all the secrets of wisdom. So to know wisdom.
What verse?
Chapter 1.
Oh, chapter 1. I thought you said
verse 2.
Verse 2.
There you go. So we need to be knowing. I think we need to be learning. Look at verse 3. To receive instruction in wise behavior, righteousness, justice, and equity. Well, my goodness, there's 3 right there. Think about what is it Micah 6:8 says that hear, old man, what the Lord requires of you. And so you got to be knowing, you got to be learning. I believe verse 4, you're going to have growing. Look at verse 4 and 5. To give prudence to the naive. Well, I was naive. Now I'm prudent. Youth, I was young in my walk. Now I'm beginning to grow up and get knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase in learning. So we got to be a learning man, a growing man. Verse 6, an understanding man. And that's where I was talking about with you. To understand a proverb. To understand why we don't judge so harshly and why we are patient with others.
Fear of the Lord.
No. And fearing is the last one. A fearing man, verse 7. You got one.
I got one.
Because you read ahead. And here we go. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Well, fools despise wisdom and instruction. So now let's bring this full circle to where we started with 2 kinds of fears. There's one that compels us and there's one that cripples us. The fear of the Lord is going to compel you to be, to love, to care, to minister, to be all that He's called us to be. So I just wanted to share that.
I like that, but do I get some credit? Because I was only 2 chapters away from it.
Yeah. Well, you were in Proverbs 3 for a while, and then I had to turn the page for you.
But I got to 5. I was only 2 chapters away from what you were talking about.
Well, what cracked me up is when you said, what verse? I was like...
Kenny's philosophy is if I give you enough answers, we'll edit out the ones that were wrong, and I'll
get there. So just a little encouragement of, hey, what should my life be filled with? Well, how about knowing and learning and growing and understanding and fearing God? That really is going to be a picture of, hey, someone who is really growing. Yes, it'll show itself with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness, all those. But this is kind of the behind the scenes. When we're doing this, that's when the other will show up.
Fearing God and trusting God all kind of come from knowing God and knowing who He is. Trusting Him because you know His goodness. Fearing Him because you know of His power and what He's and what He's capable of.
So really, and I think if you jump into it, and I think you're right, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, verse 5, verse 6, all roll into verse 7.
Yeah.
So when you know him and you're learning from him and you're growing in it and you understand it, then you're going to fear the Lord.
Yeah,
in a good way.
And I think that's why it says that's the beginning of wisdom or beginning of knowledge.
And I think I don't know if this is quite the way we've used this word a few times, but it's from the process of verses 2, 3, 4 that you receive that knowledge and that instruction, and that's to me the difference. The fear from me has probably come from experiencing the Lord versus knowing the Lord, knowing of and knowing what He said, and knowing some that starts to build into experiencing Him and experiencing the fact that everything He said spot on, and you start to experience that he's right. He's right.
And what you're doing is taking the scriptures to your experiences.
Right. And
where if you don't have the scriptures, then all you're doing is basing it on experiences.
Right.
And if you I'm going to base my view of God on my experiences, you might have a tough time there.
Definitely will.
I'm talking about experiencing God in your life, having Him in,
or just knowing,
and knowing Him on that level that you don't get to know if you don't let Him teach. I mean, you got to let Him guide you to get to know that, hey, He's right. So.